The fantasy news must flow. Welcome everybody to another episode of Fantasy News. I am your disheveled goblin host, Daniel Green, and today we have a spankety spank. Did it another time. Always subverting expectations. That equals good content. I hate that intro so much. And today we have a little bit briefer of a fantasy news, but if you would like to catch up on one of the biggest stories of recent, we had a fantasy news emergency episode dropped 2 days ago covering the release of the Lord of the Rings show Orcs, which seemed to be pleasantly surprising everybody. So if you want to see the full coverage, go ahead and check out that video. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the news. And continuing on with the Middle-earth related news, we had it announced that we are going to be getting yet another Tolkien book. Of course, I have to put Tolkien in quotes there because this is not exactly by J.R.R. Tolkien. It is by one of the Tolkien scholars who has been pouring through all of his writings to bring us the Fall of Numenor. This seems to be largely oriented towards taking place and telling a story somewhat similar to what the upcoming show is going to, and that makes absolute sense in terms of marketing. And I'm actually looking forward to reading this and seeing how it's going to contrast and compare to that show, no matter how good or bad it is, because it's always enjoyable to see how things in adaptation got translated and can provide kind of endless speculation. Now, speaking to Brian Sibley, who edited this together, he had to say, "As my many friends in the Tolkien Society will understand, it has been a great honor to have been entrusted with the task of bringing together J.R.R. Tolkien's writing relating to the dramatic history spanning the Second Age of Middle-earth. I hope this opportunity to read as a single narrative an account of those years will provide a new appreciation of how monumental events of the Second Age were to impact on those told in The Lord of the Rings." And of course, definitely worth mentioning as well, this will include color plates from Alan Lee, the very famous illustrator for a lot of the representations and influence we have seen in countless interpretations of Middle-earth. Now, at first, I did have kind of a gut instinct of more, but it does feel like the proper time and setting to put something like this out, and as long as it's quality, I will enjoy it and of course be reviewing and talking about it here on the channel. But let me know what you think of this release in the comments down below. Does this feel like just, yeah, an actual good next step and fit for what's going on currently with the franchise, or are you more in the camp of like, money grubbing, not needed? I don't know. I'd like to actually get my hands on things before I pass the harsh judgment. But continuing on from one monolithic fantasy franchise to another, we have had some tweets from Dragon Steel that I know a lot of Cosmere fans are going to be interested in terms of the availability for the leather-bound editions of Sanderson's work. They have these tweets saying essentially, coming 6/27/22, and are you ready? I believe this is largely hinting towards a lot of the leather bounds being available finally once again on their store. They tend to go like that. So it'll be there 6/27/2022. And if you're interested in these, I highly recommend you get there early, because no matter how much they've printed for the wave they're expecting, I bet it'll be bigger than they are expecting. That being said, if you're someone who kind of gets filled with envy and can't afford these, you do not need these to fully appreciate and enjoy the Cosmere. Owning these does not make you a better Cosmere fan, and it's absolutely fine to just appreciate the artwork and what they are online, and you do not necessarily need them on your shelf in any way. They are entirely a luxury purchase. I'm saying all of this just because I saw what looked like a kid on Twitter being really sad that they couldn't afford them. You don't need them. It's all right. But if you can't afford them, yeah, they're really nice, but that's all they are. They're really nice. I hope that doesn't come across like me not appreciating having them. Of course I appreciate having them, but I'm just saying it doesn't make you a better fan. But switching on into a franchise I am always excited to talk about updates from, we have the cover reveal for the upcoming Dresden Files novella, The Law. And it's a bit of a departure stylistically from other Dresden covers we have gotten, though it does fall in the similar vein. We're finally getting Dresden without the hat, though it's on a hat rack behind him. So it seems like a compromise was struck. For those of you who do not know, Dresden in the books does not necessarily wear a hat, though on the covers he is consistently presented with his hat. Overall, I think this is a fine Dresden cover. I've personally never been blown away by them, except for the last couple releases. I did think crank it up a notch or two, but they're just good and the quality content within them is far more enjoyable. But just as a reminder, this novella will be available July 5th. No! demons, right? And we have gotten a poster for the upcoming House of the Dragon that I wanted to mention because, yes, it has the release date of August 21st for HBO Max. But in addition to that, it shows a big old dragon. And I really like big old dragons. Give me thick dragons. Thick 'em boys! Though my only criticism of this poster would be the blending between the two figures isn't perfect. It does kind of look like someone just plopped in person in front with the dragon behind. Otherwise, though, it's a very nice poster. But before we get into some Dune-related news, a quick word from today's sponsor. Where's the money? Oh, hi. Have you been looking into maybe writing some fantasy worlds in your spare time? Perhaps you're trying to be an author. That is actually really good to hear because today you can sign up for Campfire, something my good buddy Boblin here fully endorses. It's the most powerful online writing utensil in the world in terms of helping you get those ideas flowing from your noggin. That includes things like timeline organizers, character relationship graphs, all these visual representations to help those who learn better that way to get their own story out onto the page. And you will not end up owing them money because you choose to pay at a rate that best fits your budget. Talk about a progressive, badass company that's been supporting me here on the channel for the longest of any sponsor I've had. If you're interested in trying out Campfire today, link in the description down below. Come back here, Goblin! But we shall depart from the fantasy news and walk on into the sci-fi news. No, I'm not just talking about the fact that I will be reviewing Snow Crash on the channel here next week, self-promo plug, but instead I am talking about the fact that we have had some Dune 2 casting. And that is that Léa Seydoux is going to be cast as Lady Margot for Dune 2. I have absolutely no idea if I said that name right. I'm sorry. Dyslexia. She is best known for her appearances in James Bond, at least according to her IMDb. And yeah, I'm excited for this and still just overall excited that we are going to be getting a Dune 2. It's been greenlit, it's coming, and personally, I would like to see the Dune movie adaptations continue into book 2 and 3 because that's when the Dune story gets really good in my opinion. Like really, really good. The first Dune book, I could take or leave. Fight me, just fight me. And we are going to slip back into the fantasy news. I have no idea what that was. I just did it. With the announcement of the 3 release dates for the upcoming Avatar: The Last Airbender movies. Though I think they're just being called Avatar Studios. Avatar movies. That's not going to be confusing with James Cameron's movies. Not at all. But we are getting a Kyoshi movie in 2024, a Zuko movie in 2025, and a Korra movie in 2026. And this inevitably begs the question for you, the audience, which one are you most excited for? At first, it was Kyoshi for me, but the more I thought about it, the more it's Zuko? I love the guy. He enamors me. He's so fascinating. A Zuko movie, yes! Though the more I think about it, I feel like the Kyoshi movie has more to possibly do. It's I don't know. And in the final piece of fantasy news, we're going to be walking on over into anime because the Trigun franchise is returning with Trigun Stampede, a 2023 original new animation. And I am not going to speak much more on this because I do not know the Trigun franchise hardly at all, but I'm going to use this as an opportunity to ask Trigun fans, would you like me to consider it to be in the next anime/manga coverage here on the channel in a Berserk style? Because if more people want this than, let's say, Vinland Saga, yeah, I'll bump it up. I'm planning on doing like a giant poll to see which one goes after Berserk. But anyway, this has been your latest episode of Fantasy News. Like and subscribe if you have not already, and hit the Patreon if you like to support what I do here. I got books, I got merch, and I'll see you in the next Fantasy News. Which if you'd like to contribute to, you can join the Discord server and go ahead and post in the Fantasy News channel. I may cover the next episode of Fantasy News. Bye!